didn't really get out and do many test hits or anything like that this year, other than just, you know, being by myself and having some fun with the bike. But I did do a couple, just, you know, see how the bike was performing and see how comfortable I kind of was getting back on and doing a couple pulls. So I'll upload a couple videos here now. So obviously with COVID-19 this year, the Canadian runway events that I normally do, they were obviously canceled. They canceled them at the beginning of the year. They didn't even bother trying. The track was open. It did end up opening later on. So I was able to go a couple times. Didn't do, you know, as good as I have in previous years. Definitely bit rusty. I used to, you know, back in the 2016, 2017 season, I mean, I was at the track probably every other weekend, you know, racing, competing in classes, and, you know, really got to know the bike. But in 2018, I did a little bit too, but last year and this year, I mean, I've only gone, I think it was 2 or 3 times in the last 2 years. So the bike at the track was a real handful for me. It's not exactly the easiest bike to ride. So I went decent times, but nothing to brag about. But the biggest thing I noticed was kind of how inconsistent I was compared to previous years. I just wasn't able to, you know, basically become like a bracket racer like I could back in the day and just, you know, run the same pass over and over and over again if I wanted to. So that was a little bit disappointing, but going forward, depending on how this border closure works for next year, still plan on keeping the H2. I've had, you know, thoughts of selling it and going a different route, but I just absolutely love the bike. So I'm kind of go around in circles with that, but I was thinking about doing, you know, maybe a track only bike to where I can at least, you know, go to the track now. Our local series has gotten a lot bigger, which is, you know, awesome to see. You know, it doesn't sound like much when you compare it to what they have in the States, but we're usually, I think now we're up in towards about 30 bikes, which is, again, decent for us. It's not like the hundreds that you get down in the US. Our tracks here are, you know, very spread out and far away from the cities. So yeah, I was thinking about, you know, getting a track only bike and something that I can, you know, take to the track. And if, you know, God forbid you flip it over, or you drop it, or, you know, like, it's just, I don't care about it as much as I do this bike. I mean, you drop it and, you know, replacing the fairings and replacing the tank, or like, you know, the front cowling is just, it's stupid money. And it's just, it's kind of always in the back of your head. And I kind of find that that's what slows me down a little bit. At the drag strip, is always having that in the back of the head that you don't want to, you know, ruin the bike. But we'll see what happens. So I guess before I pull the motor, I'll fire it up one last time for you guys. I won't be doing any crazy revving, obviously. It's pretty loud in here. Well, that sound definitely never gets old for me. Like I was saying earlier, it's one of the most unique sounding bikes out there, and that's kind of, you know, one of the reasons too why I love it. I wanted to give a quick thanks to the guys that have been there and helped me out over the years and have been a real, you know, big part of this bike. So got to start off with the company that was, you know, my first ever company that I got sponsored by, which is Brock's Performance, and Brock Davidson, the staff at Brock's Performance have just been absolutely fantastic over the years, and it's kind of surreal to me, you know, to, you know, get out there and maybe break a record or go fast and, you know, give a call to Brock and, you know, tell him we did it, and it's always cool to have, you know, that positive feedback to, you know, say thanks for running our product and thanks for doing what you do. So I always want to say thanks to them for, you know, building, you know, a good product and standing back, you know, and standing behind their customers over the years. So big thank you to him and them. Jeremy Weber at Classic Motorcycle Performance in Tennessee for doing the engine work. They've developed a pretty good engine package for the bike. You know, he's taken the time to develop some good drop-in cams, and he's built a few of these motors now, so he's very knowledgeable of them. I got to thank Chris Burns, Booms Tune in Houston, Texas, for, you know, always being a guy that I can count on if I had any questions that were, you know, sometimes, you know, you get stumped yourself, and you know, even though I've had this bike ripped apart I don't know how many times, and you know the ins and outs, there's always, you know, some weird little things or something small that you might have overlooked. So, you know, big thanks to him for always being there for me and helping me out sometimes on short notice. Got to thank Travis Yeager, Yeager Works, who also does his own work on these bikes, but he did a lot of intercooler work for me. So we did an ice tank at the front for this, so I got a bigger reservoir for a little bit more fluid, so the bike runs pretty good on the street now. Runs nice and cool, especially for the mile events. So, you know, thanks to him for his stuff on that. Don Gould at Gould Motors for, again, always being there for me. I run his software in this bike, which you have a kind of like a quick access cable, so now I can, you know, flash the ECU myself and make any changes that I need to on the fly, which is great. So you know, he's definitely been a big part of help making this bike fast and helping me with a couple of the things to, you know, get this bike fine-tuned and running the way it does. Who else we got to thank here? Marcus at M2 Shocks for doing, you know, a fantastic shock on this bike. That's one big thing that's blowing me away, and I think that really helps this bike work the way it does is that shock and the ease of adjustability, and, you know, it doesn't take like 8 clicks, you know, to see a result. I mean, like, each and every little bit helps, and it's so easy for me to, you know, I've got a quick option for the drag strip, and I've got a quick option for the street, and that's definitely helped this bike hook the way it does, and do what it does at the length I'm at. So big thanks to him. Also want to give thanks to Matt at Speed Lab Performance and Tuning for helping me out on such short notice on a few occasions, and getting the bike on the dyno and helping me out with some fine tuning, so my adjustments on the street were a little bit easier. So big thanks to him for always being there for me. Appreciate it.